Let's talk about searching the academic literature with AI tools. First of all, what is the academic literature, also called the scholarly literature? Well, when someone does a study in STEM or even in non-STEM things, and they want to tell the world about the results and kind of get credit for it, they often submit a write-up or a report, which is called a paper or an article, to what's called a journal, which is kind of like a magazine. A journal might be the Journal of Materials and Civil Engineering, like this one, or the Journal of the American Medical Association. Not every journal has the word journal in the title. Two other famous journals are Nature and Science. Once a paper is submitted, it gets sent out to other people who already know the field of that the paper is in, and they read through it and try to decide if it's doing good stuff and is worthy of being published in this journal. If they say it's acceptable for the journal, then it can be published by the journal. That whole process is called peer review. But the reviewers don't try to reproduce the study. Like if the study is about data from a satellite that's orbiting Mars, they don't try to send a new satellite to Mars to study Mars. Or if it's data on a bunch of people who took a new medicine, they don't go sign up a bunch of extra new people to take the medicine again. They're just trying to read the study and see if it seems to be doing the right things. The peer reviewers can make mistakes, but a peer-reviewed paper is on average more trustworthy than a non-peer reviewed paper or a website that someone just felt like putting up, maybe to sell you something. A downside is that peer review takes time, sometimes months, sometimes a year or two. Um, Decades ago, journals published actual hard copy paper versions. I have one here called like Operations Research from 2002. You can see it's got all kinds of words in it and math formulas and stuff. I've also got management science. I've got interfaces, which is like the interface between management science and operations research. Um, you won't typically see the cover art for a journal anymore because we're just reading individual papers, not the whole hard copy magazine. Um, in some fields, especially computer science and AI, a conference works a lot like a peer-reviewed journal. So someone says, I want to give a talk based on this paper I wrote, and it goes through a peer review process. So they work mostly the same way journals do. If you want to read an academic paper and find that it's behind a paywall online where it says, like, read this article for $40, try searching for it in the EMU library using this link, and I'll put that in the description for the video. If that doesn't find it, just email me as soon as possible. Do not spend money to buy a copy of an article. Let's take a look at some typical web pages for journal articles, just so you know kind of what they look like. So here's a web page for one particular article, but you can see it doesn't have the whole article, just a title and abstract. Here's another one, different look, but same kind of feel. Like the various sections. Um, Here's another one. We'll come back to this one later. Um, and if you find a PDF of it, it might look something like this, where it has the title, the authors, the place that the authors are at, the abstract, some information about this particular journal. Um, uh, one of our big goals in this course is to learn how people are using AI in STEM work. So we're going to go search for articles that people have written about how they're using AI in STEM work. There's a few ways to search. You can just pull up your random search engine and say something like journal papers that use generative AI in medicine. There's a specific search engine for the scholarly literature called scholar.google.com. So you can go there and type some words into a search box. That often gives you an option to use patents or not. Patents are really hard to read and really distracting. So I would usually recommend you don't include patents in your search. You can use basic AI tools like ChatGPT or Perplexity to search the academic literature, and we'll talk about that later. Once you've really found something you're really curious about and want to find a lot of detailed papers about that one specific topic, there's something called deep research, which we won't do this week, but we'll talk about it some other week. So it used to be that an AI would write a sentence for you about a paper it found, and it would be your responsibility to go look up that reference and check that it exists and check that the paper says what the AI said it says. But now most papers will kind of say the same thing, but they'll give you a little link icon at the end here. It is still your responsibility to go check that that reference exists. Click on the link and make sure that the article actually says what the AI claimed it said. And if it's saying things that you don't know about yet, like PDM, I don't know what that is yet. F1 scores, I have an idea. It's not related to Formula One racing. If you're putting this in a serious report that you're writing for other people to read, you should know what those things mean before you paste it into the report or type your own version of it. Um, Here it says significantly. Significantly could mean statistical significance. It could mean practical significance. It could mean both. It could mean something else entirely. So it's your responsibility to figure out exactly what it means. Except on this first week of homework for this class, you don't have to go figuring out what each of these things means. We're just playing with using AI to find articles. When you're doing a search, it's often helpful to give it more context than you would to a typical search engine. So you could tell it something about who you are or how much you know, and you can be as specific as you want to or not. So you could just use medicine, or you could say pediatrics, the study of young medicine for young people, or you could say pediatric diabetes, or specific subtopics within that. Um, so just be as specific or non-specific as you want. It's good to keep in mind that most AI systems can't see the full text of journal articles if the website is trying to charge for it. They can see the title and the abstract, but nothing else. So it might miss some papers that would have been helpful to you. There's really not much we can do about that. Um, Also, because they can't see the full text on paywall sites, AIs tend to prefer web pages that are entirely open, but those are often not peer-reviewed. So you can't trust them as much. There are also things called preprint servers. This is pronounced archive or bioarchive or tech archive, where researchers put a copy of the paper that they're about to submit to a journal. So they often haven't been peer reviewed yet, but they are somewhat more serious than a web page where someone's trying to tell you something sell you something, for example.